Hey everyone, Fire here. Today we're going to be talking about 12 quality of life changes that PoE has needed for years. Number 1. Pricing a tab should not change its name. Now this is what my Essence tab looks like at the moment. Its name is Price 1 Chaos. I didn't call it that, I simply set that as its price, and the game decided to change its name to that. As of this moment, you can't actually price up a tab without changing its name, and to make matters worse, the price tab contains 12 characters and 2 spaces at a minimum, and this is way longer than the amount of characters I would usually put into a name for a tab. This feature is almost 10 years old, and even when it was first put into the game, it was already outdated. I think it needs to go ASAP. One of my biggest problems with Path of Exile right now is that if I want to go buy a gem off of Lily, or I want to use a Kirac Map Mod, I need to go all the way over to my stash and open up the currency tab before the game realizes I actually have the currency to spend. Not only is this very annoying, but the workaround for using Kirac Map Mods is to have the Chaos Orbs stored in your inventory, and I don't think that's really an acceptable solution considering our inventories are already so small. Some people have told me this is the product of spaghetti code, but my friends, this is a severe underestimation because at this point, the code is a fully fledged Italian dinner. One of the biggest problems with trading Path of Exile is the fact that there's no way to turn all of your tabs off at once. When you're done liquidating and you want to get back to mapping, you are still going to receive whispers from players who want your items, even though you have no willingness whatsoever to make the sale. Now, at least 10 times a day, I get angry messages from disgruntled Tornado Shot Occultist players who really want to buy my item even though I'm not selling it to them. Many of them over the years have suggested to simply turn on D&D. Do Not Disturb is a feature that blocks all of your ability to communicate with other players, and this would be fine, except for the fact that I can no longer message my guildmates or my friends, and they can no longer message me if they don't know my Discord. The solution for this is very obvious. Temporary private tabs, just a little toggle somewhere in my stash that I can turn on to make all of my stash tabs private, and when I turn it off, all of my stash tabs go back to the settings they previously had. That means that if I had my Essence tab already priced up, once I toggle it off, my Essence tab will go back to public and it will go back to being priced at what it was previously. As much as I would enjoy such a feature, I think more importantly this is going to benefit the literal hundreds of thousands of people who have messaged me over the past few years when I have no intention of trading them. Kirac map mods have to be reselected every single time, and once upon a time this wasn't the biggest deal in the world. However, it's gotten a lot worse as of late, because we now have all of these special crafts, such as Monstrous Treasure, the Tempests, a whole bunch of other things, and we also have all of the Harvest crafts, which means if you're collecting all of these special crafts and you want to put a Delirium Mirror onto your map, you need to scroll down for quite a while before you can select it, and you need to do that every single map that you run. Now, while this is really annoying, there's already a precedent for GGG believing that these sorts of quality of life changes should exist. Previously, we had to do a very similar thing with Scarabs, where we had to put Scarabs into the map device every single time. Nowadays, you can put stacks of Scarabs into the map device, and you can simply just run 10 maps in a row. However, we still need to reselect our Kirac Map Mod each time, and I think that's something that needs to change. I would totally support this toggle being an option only. There are a lot of people who are going to be concerned about potentially toggling on Delirium Mirrors and then losing a bunch of Chaos Orbs every map they run, and I don't think that would be very positive at all. So simply just have the option to toggle it on, but otherwise, those people who want to select their map mods every single map, they can continue to do so. Prefixes belong on the top of an item and suffixes belong on the bottom. I don't know why in the year 2022 we still need to be having this discussion. So what you see here are my boots in game currently. They have 34 strength on them, and when you just look at the tooltip for these boots, the 34 strength appears at the top of the item. But when you hold down Alt, magically the game decides, well hey, I actually do know how to sort these stats out, and well guess what, strength is a suffix, so it goes on the bottom. All I'm asking for here is that the sorting that occurs when we hold down Alt just be the default. A lot of the reason players hold down Alt at all is not to see what tier the mod is, but just to see what the prefixes and suffixes are sorted out in a way that makes sense to our brains. More importantly, I think this is really good for new players. So new players have a really hard time understanding the concept of prefixes and suffixes, mainly because you tell them strength is a suffix, it belongs on the bottom of the item, but, you know, sometimes it appears on the top, you know, you just have to know, it's one of those things. And really the only thing those players know is that some of the coding in this game belongs in the 1990s. Number 6 is changing stack sizes when the trade window is open. This one really pisses me off, because how often do you guys open up a trade with someone and you put all of the items in and then the trade window just hovers there for like 10 seconds? And then all of a sudden the trade gets cancelled, because guess what? This person owes you 34C, but they have 4 stacks of 10 Chaos Orbs in their inventory, and obviously they need to split one of those stacks. In a perfect world, none of this would matter, because I'd be trading other intelligent human beings who know how to split their Chaos Orbs up before a trade. Unfortunately, GGG installed Path of Exile into the computers at the zoo, and half the time I end up trading with the bonobos. For those of you who don't know, when attack speed appears on a weapon, it's a local modifier. It increases the base attack speed of the item, and it functions like a more multiplier. This should really say that Voidhome has 50% more attack speed, but when it appears on anything that isn't a weapon, well, it's global attack speed. It's just simply an increased modifier, which stacks with all other forms of increased attack speed, except the ones that appear on weapons. Number 8. Exact price should be the default when right-clicking an item. So at the moment in-game, when you want to price up an item, you need to right-click it and then open up the drop-down menu and select exact price. And I don't know why exact price isn't the default option, considering almost no one I know uses the note feature. Number 9. How often do you guys price up your map tab and then you click it again later and find that all of the information is gone and you start to question, did I actually price this tab up? But you keep receiving trade messages, so obviously the game has registered this information, it's just not telling you what it is. Now, I'll just give you guys an example of why this is so goddamn annoying. The other night, I priced up all of my city squares at 5C each. I sold all the ones that I wanted to sell and kept a bunch for myself, but I kept receiving trade whispers, so I thought, well, I'll just turn off the tab. Well, no, you can't. So, I couldn't even remember, did I price up the entire map tab? Did I price up the map tier? Or did I price up city squares specifically? I couldn't tell and the game didn't want to tell me. Number 10 is a total no-brainer. You should be able to color your tab folders the way you can color all of your stash tabs. GGG did a wonderful thing when putting tab folders into the game. Unfortunately, they forgot about them as fast as most of my viewers forget about their own children during a League launch. Number 11, items should ignore the tab affinity if the tab is full, or at least give us the option for it to work this way. So at the moment, the unique tab is kind of a brick. You get one of a unique item and suddenly you can no longer deposit unique items into your dump tab because the game's like, hey, the unique tab is full. This item needs to stay in your inventory. Well, very fucking obviously, I don't want the carcass jack clogging up my inventory if I already have one. Just let me put it in the goddamn dump tab and move on with my life. The Sentinel Locker has only reignited my hatred for the fact that the game works this way. The Sentinel Locker would be a good place to store all of my power cores and recombinators, considering that an affinity doesn't exist for them elsewhere yet. Unfortunately, my Sentinel Locker is clogged up with garbage Sentinels, and I can't be bothered cleaning it out after every second map. So instead, I have to turn the Sentinel affinity off and put everything into my dump tab, and then later resort through all of my power cores and recombinators back into the wildcard slots in my currency tab. How should it work? Quite simply, if my Sentinel Locker is full, my Sentinels should just go into the tab that I'm clicking them into. I don't know why it doesn't already work this way. Now for sure, you can Control-Shift-click the item directly into your inventory, but when you're trying to click an inventory into your dump tab as fast as possible, with affinities turned on, you don't have time to think about whether the item belongs in another tab or your dump tab. Finally is number 12. Friends list is too small visually, and it's also small in other ways. So at the moment, in case you haven't noticed, the friends list only shows you 5 friends at a time. And to make up for the fact that you can only see 5 friends at a time, it scrolls really fast. If you need to get from the bottom to the top, you can do it in a reasonable time. However, that makes it really hard to find the people you actually want to message because you can very easily scroll over the person you're looking for. On the other hand, if we slowed down the scrolling speed, it would take way too long to find a friend. So the solution, obviously, is to just make it display more than 5 friends. The UI is another one of those things that really just belonged in the 1990s and never should have gone into the game in this state, but it did, and for some reason we kept it. What I'm saying now is the time to get rid of it. And while we're at it, let's expand the friends list beyond 100 people. Don't tell me that the technology isn't there and the servers can't handle it. We put man on the moon many decades ago. I'm pretty sure a video game friends list can hold more than 100 people. If you like this video, give me a like, comment, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, just remember, my name is Palstron, and I love eating mud.